Welcome back. Today we've been talking with Dr. Enrique Murillo, who is a professor in the College of Education and the executive director of the LEAD organization here at Cal State San Bernardino. So, before the break we were talking about the crisis in the Inland Empire and beyond. What are some of the things that you and other groups perhaps are doing to address the crisis?
There's really a big movement in the United States, really worldwide, but in the United States, particularly with Latino students.
Well, and that was real clear from the number of people who were interested.
Yes, there's a lot of people interested. Yeah. So really, the origin of this started maybe 13 or 14 years ago with the Journal of Latinos in Education.
And is that how long you've been doing it?
Yes,
okay.
And I'm the founding editor and still the editor of the JLE, Journal of Latinos in Education. And the way it started is that some of the scholars, the researchers said, we have to start sharing with each other the bits of knowledge that we've learned. The idea being that it's sort of like a puzzle, and everybody has a little piece of it, so we have to kind of bring it together to get a sense of the portrait. So that's a highly successful academic journal housed here in the College of Education, and that kind of started off a network. And out of that grew the Network of Latinos in Education, which is an electronic portal, again, housed here in our campus.
Okay.
It predates Facebook and all that stuff. It goes back to, we started back in '93, so since 1993 we've been working on this projects. And what it is it's just a forum for the anybody who's interested in Latino education to share information, talk to each other. We send out newsletters, any breaking news. We have a whole directory of resources, and also both English and Spanish language programs, both audio and video broadband.
Is this on a website?
It's on a website.
And what is the website?
Well, you can go to the LEAD website, and it captures everything. So lead.csusb.edu.
Perfect.
And there's links to everything.
Okay.
So they got the journal, the National Latino Education Network, then the handbook, which I addressed earlier, Handbook of Latinos in Education. That more than 350 scholars were involved in that, and that became a big thing. And then now we have the LEAD Summit, which is an annual summit. It takes place the last week of March. And our first summit was highly successful. So as I mentioned earlier, because of that, we decided to have a yearly summit from here on.
Right. Can you talk to me a minute about the significance of the last week in March? Why is it the last week in March?
Okay. Well, part of it is for our convenience, for our university's convenience, it's spring break.
Right.
So because of that, we can afford to have a lot of people on our campus, right, to do events.
Right.
But more than that, it's also, March 31st is also the day that we commemorate Cesar Chavez, who's a significant public figure in the United States, but particularly among Latinos. Right.
And in California.
And in California, yes, in Southwest, and really everybody. And we were fortunate enough that political and public figures took notice of the LEAD Summit that they initiated ACR 137, which stands for Assembly Concurrent Resolution. So both the Assembly and the Senate concurred and basically declared the last week of March in California from here on as a week of Latino education and advocacy. So we were lucky enough that in the resolution, our university was actually mentioned in the language.
Wow. And
they took the tenets of the Handbook of Latinos in Education, and basically because of this, therefore it's resolved that the last week of March be a week of Latino advocacy for education. Taking advantage of that, now we can do ACR 137 events anywhere in California. So eventually the goal would be to have more events in the public school system.
During that week, or
during that week? Obviously the whole year it's important to address this, but we're happy to have at least a week where we're acknowledged, so we can do many things during that week, and we hope that other states will follow. We already have recognition by the federal government. In fact, our Inland Empire region was just, for lack of a better word, adopted by the White House Initiatives Office to start a local regional action network, where as a region, we're going to start addressing some of the educational needs of Latino students here in the Inland Empire.
Now, when you say we're going to address some of the needs, are you talking about LEAD or the federal government?
Yeah, well, it's kind of open enough to whoever takes the initiative.
Okay.
Right. So the LEAD Summit raised a lot of awareness. So we were lucky enough to catch the eye of federal officials, to the point where now we're one of 9 regions or cities in the United States that are now going to hold a special relationship with the White House Initiatives Office.
Oh, okay.
And it's LEAD. It's also FACE, a Federation for a Competitive Economy, which Dr. Carnig, our university president, is heavily involved in that.
Right. And I was I've been involved in that.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of LEAD and FACE are kind of taking the lead.
The lead.
to say. But really it's open. It's open. So we're talking about a network, a regional network of educators, housing folks, people in the health, just across the board.
So education, community,
yes,
and business leaders, those kinds of
things.
Yeah,
and we're looking at taking on some of the issues.
Great.
Right. So if we can break off the educational crisis into different segments. So, for example, one of the things that we've already talked about as a network is the need for parental engagement.
Right.
So we want to do activities for parental engagement. We're working with an organization called PIQE, Parent Institute for Quality Education. They're one of our partners, and with the entire CSU system.
Right.
They're one of the partners, and they have a special program, a 9-week parental engagement workshop, you can say. And after the 9 weeks, if the parents successfully finish, then their children are in a better position to compete for admission slot at Cal State system.
So we don't have much time left, and these are wonderful programs. I just want to ask you, how are you going to outdo yourself? It sounds like the first summit was amazing. So what do you have planned for future summits?
Well, it's actually kind of easy.
Is it?
Well, last year we had 150 viewing partners. This year we have close to 200 already. And in fact, I just got back from Cuba. I and 4 of my doctoral students, we gave a big talk at Universidad de Oriente in Santiago de Cuba, and there was more than 25 countries there who sent delegates to this big international conference. And we spoke about LEAD and how Latinos in the U.S. represent a cultural and linguistic pool of talent that just very easily and naturally can create linkages to Latin America.
Right.
So we recruited 20 new universities across the globe to watch us there.
Perfect.
A lot of people are coming to us, especially with our partnership with the White House Initiatives. Other people are coming to us.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. We've run out of time. Thank you for joining us today on myCSUSB Academics. Today we've been talking with Dr. Enrique Murillo, who is a professor in the College of Education and the executive director of the LEAD organization here at Cal State. My name is Risa Dixon. See you next time.